In a world where success often seems elusive, Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People offers a timeless roadmap to personal and professional growth. Far from being just another self-help book, Covey's work delves into the core principles that drive meaningful change. Through its practical advice and profound insights, this book has remained a beacon for those seeking to transform their lives by cultivating habits that not only boost effectiveness, but also foster lasting fulfillment. Whether you're striving to excel in your career, improve your relationships, or simply lead a more purposeful life, Covey's 7 Habits provide the tools you need to achieve your highest potential. If you're interested in this book review, simply comment with, "Yes, I'm ready to be transformed." Just type these words in the comments section below. I'm ready to be transformed. Once I see your comment, I'll give it a heart. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider liking the video and subscribing. It takes only a moment and greatly helps the channel. The Awakening. The office buzzed with activity, but for Alex, everything felt static. He was stuck, not because he wasn't working hard, but because something deeper was missing. Every morning, he checked off tasks, answered emails, attended meetings. But when he looked back at the end of the week, it all felt like survival, not progress. On one rainy evening, drained and frustrated, Alex wandered into a quiet bookstore. A weathered book with a navy blue cover caught his eye. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Something about the title struck him. He flipped it open, and one line hooked him. "I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions." That night, Alex sat at his kitchen table, reading with a kind of hunger he hadn't felt in years. For the first time, he saw a path, not just to success, but to meaning. A path built not on hacks or shortcuts, but on principles. And so, his journey began, one habit at a time. Habit 1. Be proactive. Story. Title: The Power to Choose. 2 weeks into his self-transformation journey, Alex faced a typical Monday. His manager dumped a last-minute presentation on his desk. His inbox was flooded. The rain outside mirrored his mood. In the past, this would have triggered a spiral. Sighs, stress, maybe snapping at a coworker or mentally checking out. But something had shifted. Covey's words echoed in his mind. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our freedom to choose. Alex paused. He took a breath. Then he reached for his notepad and drew a circle. Covey's circle of influence. On the outside, he listed the weather, the tight deadline, his boss's demands, office politics. On the inside, he wrote his attitude, his tone of voice, his ability to organize, his response. Instead of focusing on things beyond his control, Alex doubled down on what he could influence. He mapped out the presentation structure, prepped a quick draft, and reached out to a colleague for help on the visuals. When his manager checked in mid-afternoon, Alex was already halfway done. Calm, confident, and focused. That same week, a coworker vented about upper management being clueless. Alex listened but responded differently this time. He said, "Let's figure out what we can do from our end. Complaining won't fix it, but maybe a better workflow will." That moment marked a turning point. Instead of being swept away by external chaos, Alex became the eye of the storm, centered, clear, and in control. Key takeaways from Habit 1. Responsibility. You have the power to choose your response in any situation. That's your superpower. Circle of influence. Focus your energy on what you can actually control, and that circle will grow. Language matters. Stop saying "I can't" or "I have to." Start saying "I choose to" and "I will." Emotional control. Proactive people don't let feelings or conditions dictate behavior. They act based on values. Having learned to respond with intention instead of impulse, Alex realized something deeper. It's not just about taking control today. It's about knowing where you want to go tomorrow. Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. A week after mastering the art of being proactive, Alex sat alone in a cafe during his lunch break. His productivity had improved, sure, but something still felt unfocused. He was solving problems, putting out fires, doing more. But to what end? That night, back in his apartment, he revisited Covey's second habit. Begin with the end in mind. The question haunted him. What is the end I'm heading toward? Covey posed an exercise. Imagine your funeral. What would you want people to say about you? Morbid? Maybe, but deeply clarifying. Alex closed his eyes and pictured 4 speakers. A family member, a friend, a coworker, a community member. What would they say about him today? Hardworking, reliable, always busy. But was that enough? Was that who he wanted to be remembered as? He grabbed his journal and began writing a personal mission statement. At first, it felt forced, but then something flowed. To lead with integrity, inspire through action, and nurture meaningful relationships both in and outside the workplace. This became his North Star. From that point on, Alex filtered every big decision through this mission. When he was offered a promotion that paid well but would take him away from mentoring his junior team, he paused. The old Alex would have jumped at the money, but the new Alex asked, "Does this align with the kind of leader I want to be remembered as?" He said no. And oddly, it felt like a bigger win than saying yes. Alex also started using visualization daily. Before client meetings, he visualized the outcome he wanted. Not just closing deals, but building trust. At home, he imagined being present. Not just physically, but emotionally, with his family. One Sunday, he helped his niece with a school project. As they worked together, she looked up and said, "Uncle Alex, you're really fun to be around." He smiled. That line meant more than 100 emails saying, "Good job." Key takeaways from Habit 2. Start with purpose. Define your destination before you start the journey. Write a personal mission statement. Clarify your values, roles, and long-term vision. Visualize outcomes. Mental rehearsal is a powerful tool for clarity and motivation. Live by design, not default. Don't let the world choose your path. You choose it. Now that Alex knew where he was headed, the challenge became even more real: how to align his daily actions with his ultimate vision. Habit 3. Put first things. Alex's vision was clear now. He knew the kind of leader, brother, and man he wanted to become. But life wasn't waiting for him to catch up. The next week at work, chaos reigned. His calendar was packed. Emails poured in like a flood. Deadlines shifted. Everyone was in a rush, and Alex was drowning in tasks. That Friday, he missed dinner with his parents. Again, he looked at his screen at 10:42 p.m., exhausted, overworked, and yet strangely unfulfilled. He remembered Habit 3. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. He opened Covey's chapter again and discovered the time management matrix. The 4 quadrants: urgent and important, crises, deadlines, not urgent but important, planning, health, relationships, urgent but not important, interruptions, most emails, not urgent and not important, scrolling, binge watching. Alex realized he was stuck in quadrant 1 and 3, constantly reacting to what screamed loudest. He made a bold move. He blocked out 1 hour every morning for deep, strategic work. No email, no phone, just focus. He scheduled gym 3 times a week and actually stuck to it. He made Sundays non-negotiable family days. One Monday, his colleague rushed in. "Hey, quick thing. Can you jump into this last-minute meeting?" Old Alex would have said yes. New Alex checked his calendar. He smiled and said, "Actually, I'm in the middle of something important. Can we talk after 2?" At first, people were surprised, but soon they respected it. His productivity didn't drop. It skyrocketed. He wasn't just busy anymore. He was effective. One evening, his sister called him and said, "I love how present you've been lately. I really miss this version of you." Alex smiled. This is what it meant to put first things first. Key takeaways from habit 3. Discipline over distraction. Urgency is loud, but importance is quiet. Train yourself to listen to what matters. Use the time matrix. Spend more time in quadrant 2. Important, but not urgent. That's where growth lives. Say no to say yes. Every yes to low-priority tasks is a no to your mission. Live your priorities. Don't just plan them. Schedule them, protect them, and follow through. With a focused mind and disciplined schedule, Alex had taken control of his time. But he was about to face his biggest leadership test yet. One that would challenge not just his habits, but his heart. Habit 4. Think win-win. A few months into Alex's transformation, his team was thriving. But a new challenge loomed. A massive joint project with another department. The project was high stakes, fast-moving, and resources were limited. Both teams wanted the same budget, the same timeline, and, let's be honest, the same credit. The tension was thick. At the kickoff meeting, subtle jabs flew across the room. You could feel the competition bubbling under the surface. Later that day, Alex overheard one of his teammates say, "We better come out on top. This is a war." That line sat heavy in Alex's gut. That night, he returned to habit 4. Win-win is not a technique. It's a total philosophy of human interaction. Alex realized something profound. He wasn't here to win at someone else's expense. He was here to build something greater. The next morning, instead of preparing for battle, Alex set up a one-on-one with the other team's lead, Jasmine. They had history, not all of it good. He opened with a simple line. What would success look like for both of us, not just our teams? Jasmine looked surprised, suspicious even, but Alex was sincere. He laid down his ego and listened. They brainstormed openly, identified overlapping goals, and spotted areas where one team's strength covered the other's weakness. Alex proposed a joint milestone report, so both teams could share wins. He even suggested shared credit during the final board presentation. The atmosphere shifted. The teams began collaborating instead of competing. Weekly updates became co-led. Conflicts turned into brainstorming sessions. And when the project launched successfully, the VP said, "This is the most seamless cross-functional project I've seen in years." Jasmine, standing beside Alex at the celebration, smiled and said, "You're not bad, Alex." For a reforming control freak. They both laughed, but deep down, Alex knew. He didn't just win the project. He'd won trust, respect, and something even more valuable, a new way of thinking. Key takeaways from habit 4. Abundance mindset. There's enough success for everyone. Believe in mutual growth. Emotional maturity. Win-win requires confidence, empathy, and integrity. Relationships. Over ego. Collaboration beats competition. Long term. Seek shared victories. Look for outcomes where everyone walks away better. Alex had discovered that leadership wasn't about dominance. It was about alignment. But soon, he would face a moment where words wouldn't be enough. He'd have to listen in a way he never had before. Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Alex was no stranger to fast-paced conversations, heated debates, and pitching ideas. But when his father called one evening with tension in his voice, everything slowed down. They hadn't spoken in weeks. Not properly. Ever since a disagreement about Alex's decision to turn down a promotion, there'd been a quiet, cold wall between them. His father's voice was sharp. You're throwing away a future for what? To be spiritual, philosophical. Alex's instinct was to fire back. You don't understand. But just before the words escaped, he caught himself. He remembered Covey's Habit 5. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. That hit deep. So for the first time in his life, Alex changed the script. He sat still, breathed, then said, "Dad, I really want to understand where you're coming from." Silence. Then the floodgates opened. His father, a man who rarely talked about emotions, began sharing his fears. About financial security, about feeling left behind by his son's growing independence, about his own regrets from when he was younger. Alex didn't interrupt. He didn't justify. He listened, fully. He paraphrased, asked gently, "What worries you the most?" His dad said quietly, "I just don't want you to end up like me, feeling too late." That moment shattered years of distance in just minutes. When Alex finally spoke, his voice wasn't defensive. It was calm, clear, full of love. "Dad, I'm not giving up on success. I'm just redefining it. And I want you to be part of it." They talked for hours that night. Not to win, not to fix, just to connect. The next day at work, during a client negotiation, Alex used the same approach. He didn't jump to pitch. He asked, "Can you walk me through your biggest concern?" The deal that followed wasn't just signed. It turned into a long-term partnership. Key takeaways from Habit 5. Empathic listening. Don't just hear the words. Hear the emotions. Suspend the ego. Stop formulating your reply while the other person is still speaking. Reflection builds trust. Repeat back what you hear to show you truly understand. Understanding. First, persuasion. Later, when people feel heard, they become open to hearing you. Alex had discovered that listening wasn't weakness. It was leadership. But soon, he would learn that listening alone wasn't enough. The real magic happened when differences came together, not in conflict, but in creation. Habit 6. Synergize. A few months into his growth journey, Alex was handpicked to lead the most ambitious initiative his company had attempted in years, launching a new AI-based product that required input from nearly every department. The stakes were high. The pressure? Massive. And the people? All brilliant, but wildly different. In the first team meeting, sparks flew, not the good kind. The lead designer clashed with the data analyst. Marketing insisted on a viral launch. R&D argued for technical perfection. Everyone brought expertise, but no one was listening. Old Alex might have tried to force consensus. New Alex, now fluent in Habit 5, listened deeply, patiently. Then he remembered Covey's Habit 6. Synergy is not about compromise. It's about valuing differences to create a better third alternative. So, he did something radical. He canceled the next formal meeting. Instead, he invited the team to a creative off-site retreat, a neutral space with whiteboards, beanbags, snacks, and one rule: every idea gets heard. No exceptions. At first, it was awkward. Then something shifted. The designer, who was known to be stubborn, opened up about their vision of creating something that feels alive. The analyst, surprisingly, built on it. If we map real-time user behavior, we could evolve the interface dynamically. Eyes lit up. Someone added, "That's it." It becomes an adaptive experience. Within 2 hours, they had a concept no one department could have come up with alone. A third alternative. Not A or B, but C, something entirely new, entirely better. They laughed. They disagreed. They sketched wild things on whiteboards. And for the first time, they built something as a unit. Weeks later, the product launched ahead of schedule. and crushed expectations. Alex didn't just walk away with a successful launch. He walked away with a truth he'd carry forever. When we stop fighting to be right, we start creating what's possible. Key takeaways from Habit 6. Celebrate differences. People with diverse skills and perspectives bring creative solutions. Seek third alternatives. True synergy happens when you go beyond compromise. Create safe collaboration spaces. Environments that encourage vulnerability lead to breakthroughs. Synergy is not agreement. It's about alignment, not uniformity. Alex had found his rhythm, leading with empathy, building with vision, collaborating with synergy. But if he wanted to sustain this level of excellence, he'd have to protect his greatest asset, himself. Habit 7. Sharpen the Saw. The product was a success. Alex's name was buzzing through boardrooms. From stressed-out employee to influential leader, he had transformed. But something was off. His calendar was full, yet his spirit felt empty. He hadn't worked out in weeks, skipped family dinners. His once clear vision felt blurry, like he was sprinting down a road with no time to look up. One morning, Alex woke up with a pounding headache and zero energy. He looked in the mirror, eyes dull, posture slouched. That's when Covey's final habit echoed in his mind. Sharpen the saw means preserving and enhancing the greatest asset you have, you. He finally saw the truth. He'd been running full speed with a dull blade. So, Alex did something he hadn't done in months. He stepped away. He took a weekend retreat. No laptop, no meetings, no noise. At a cabin near the woods, he did 4 things Covey taught in the habit. Mental renewal. He journaled, reflected on what mattered, read books that fed his mind, not just his career. Spiritual renewal. He walked in nature, reconnected with his purpose and values, the mission statement he wrote months ago. Emotional renewal. He called his sister and had a heart-to-heart, visited his old mentor and just listened. Physical renewal. He cooked his own food, stretched, slept like a baby. When Monday came, Alex wasn't just rested. He was reborn. Ideas flowed faster. Conversations felt richer. He showed up to meetings energized, and it was contagious. He even implemented a pause hour at work. Once a week, the team shut down meetings and emails. Just time to think, reflect, and recharge. At first, people resisted, but soon they looked forward to it. Productivity didn't drop, it rose. Alex had finally understood. Self-renewal isn't selfish, it's leadership fuel. Key takeaways from Habit 7. You are the tool. If you don't sharpen the saw, you'll burn out, no matter how sharp your mind or mission. Renew in 4 areas: physical, sleep, exercise, health, mental, learning, reflection, emotional, relationships, service, spiritual, purpose, values, connection. Build renewal into your routine. Don't wait to crash. Schedule your sharpening. Alex had completed the circle. From reactivity to vision, discipline to collaboration, and now, renewal. But he knew this wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a lifelong habit loop that would elevate every season of his life. Final epilogue. The transformation. Alex wasn't perfect, but he was no longer reactive, distracted, burnt out. He had become a man with vision, with purpose, and with the tools to lead himself before leading others. He learned to take ownership of his choices, to live with intention, to prioritize what truly matters, to build relationships where everyone wins, to listen with empathy, to collaborate creatively, and most of all, to protect and renew his most valuable asset, himself. The 7 habits didn't just change how Alex worked, they changed how he lived. Call to action, engaging and professional. If Alex's journey spoke to you, if you saw a piece of yourself in his story, This is your sign to start living more effectively, more intentionally, and more powerfully. Like this video if you're ready to take control of your life. Comment your favorite habit or takeaway below. I'd love to hear it. Subscribe for more life-changing book summaries that fuel your growth. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, because success is better when it's shared. Thank you for watching. And remember, change begins from within.